Now we will focus on interpersonal skills. What are interpersonal skills? Interpersonal skills are sometimes referred to as the social skills, people skills, soft skills, or life skills. However, these terms can be used both more narrowly and more broadly than interpersonal skills. On interpersonal skills, we can say the skills you need and use to communicate and interact with other people. So, the importance of interpersonal skills. Why interpersonal skills are actually important? So, interpersonal skills matter because none of us lives in a bubble. So, in the course of our lives, we have to communicate with and interact with other people on a daily, if not hourly basis, and sometimes more often. So, good interpersonal skills oil the wheels of these interactions, making them smoother and pleasanter for all those involved. They allow us to build better and longer lasting relationships both at home and at work. Interpersonal skills at home. Good interpersonal skills help you to communicate more effectively with family and friends. So, this is likely to be particularly important with your partner. For example, being able to give and receive feedback effectively with your partner can help to resolve small problems between you before they become big issues. So, this is likely be important even with your partner, as we said. There is about this and other aspects of using interpersonal skills at home, like communicating with our family, communicating with neighbors, and so on. Interpersonal skills at work. So, you may not like to think about it in these terms, but you almost certainly spend more time with your colleagues than your partner. So, at work, you are required to communicate with and interact with a wide range of people, from suppliers and customers to your immediate colleagues farther afield, your team, and your manager. Your ability to do so effectively can make the difference between a successful working life and one spent wondering what went wrong. So, there are, of course, some jobs in which interpersonal skills are very important. Customer facing roles such as sales and customer relations management are likely to specify good interpersonal skills as a prerequisite. However, there are a number of other less obvious jobs and careers where interpersonal skills are also vitally important. This includes the healthcare professions, including doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals. So, being able to listen to and talk to patients and their families is an essential skill, as is being able to give bad news in a sensitive way. We almost take these skills for granted in healthcare professionals, but we also know how devastating the situations can be when these professionals have poor skills and fail to communicate effectively. Financial advice and brokerage. So, financial advisors and brokers need to be able to listen carefully to their customers and understand both what they are saying and what they are not articulating. This enables them to provide recommendations that match their clients' needs. So, poor interpersonal skills means that they will find it harder to build good customer relationships and to understand customer needs. Computer programming and development. So, this area is often thought of as the ultimate territory for geeks, with the assumption that interpersonal skills are not essential. However, technical developers increasingly need good interpersonal skills to understand their customers and to be able to translate between the technical and the practical. Now, developing your interpersonal skills. Good interpersonal skills are the foundations for good working and social relationships, and also for developing many other areas of skill. It is therefore worth spending time developing good interpersonal skills. First is identify the areas for improvement. So, the first step towards improving is to develop your knowledge of yourself and your weaknesses. You may already have a good idea of areas that you need to develop. However, it is worth seeking feedback from other people because it is easy to develop blind spots about yourself. You might also find it useful to do our interpersonal skills self-assessment. Interpersonal skills self-assessment means to understand or to discover your skills, your strengths and weaknesses. Next is focus on your basic communication skills. So, communication is far more than the words that come out of your mouth. Some would even go so far as to suggest that there is a reason why you have two ears and one mouth, and that you should therefore listen twice as much as you talk. Listening is very definitely not the same as hearing. Perhaps one of the most important things you can do for anyone else is to take the time to listen carefully to what they are saying, considering both their verbal and non-verbal communication. So using techniques like questioning and reflection demonstrates that you are both listening and interested. When you are talking, be aware of the words you use. Could you be misunderstood or confuse the issue? Practice clarity and learn to seek feedback or clarifications to ensure your message has been understood. By using questions effectively, you can both check others' understanding and also learn more from them. You may think that selecting your word is a most important part of getting a message across, but non-verbal communication actually plays a much bigger part than many of us are aware. Some experts suggest that around 3/4 of the message is communicated by nonverbal signals such as body language, tone of voice, and the speed which you speak. So these nonverbal signals reinforce or contradict the message of our words and are much harder to fake than words. They are therefore a much more reliable signal. Learning to read the body language is a vital part of communication. Improve your more advanced communication skills. Once you are confident in your basic listening and verbal and non-verbal communication, you can move on to more advanced areas around communication, such as becoming more effective in how you speak and understanding why you may be having communication problem. Communication is rarely perfect and can fail for a number of reasons. Understanding more about the possible barriers to good communication means that you can be aware of and reduce the likelihood of ineffective interpersonal communication and misunderstandings. Problems with communication can arise for a number of reasons, like physical barriers. For example, being unable to see or hear the speaker properly, or language difficulties. Emotional barriers, such as not wanting to hear what is being said or engage with the topic. Expectations and prejudices that affect what people see and hear. So there are also circumstances in which communication is more difficult. For example, when you have to have an unpleasant conversation with someone, perhaps about their standard of work. These conversations may be either planned or unplanned. So these tend to be two issues that make conversations difficult: emotions and change. Various emotions can get in the way of communicating, including anger and aggression or stress. Few of us are able to communicate effectively when we are struggling to manage our emotions, and sometimes the best thing that can be done is to postpone the conversations until everyone is calmer. And difficult conversations are often about the need for change. So many of us find change harder to manage, especially if it is associated with an implied criticisms of existing ways of working. Look inwards. So interpersonal skills may be about how you relate to others, but that they start with you. Many will be improved dramatically if you work on your personal skills. For example, people who are much more likely to be drawn to you if you can maintain a positive attitude. A positive attitude also translates into improved self-confidence. You are also less likely to be able to communicate effectively if you are very stressed about something. It is therefore important to learn to recognize, manage, and reduce stress in yourself and others. Being able to remain assertive without becoming either passive or aggressive is also the key to effective communication. There is more about this regarding assertiveness. So, interpersonal skills actually is the skill that we use to communicate with others. And it involves certain examples like listening, talking, problem solving, and understanding. So by this way, interpersonal skills can be actually helpful.